What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It happened. A three-generation collision of ideas and beliefs. So a little while ago, I started having Micheal join me for Friday Q&A, and I found it to be interesting. And the response from the audience is they found it to be interesting as well, because about 20 years separates us, and a few people reached out and said, bring your dad in too, because then there's another 30 years on top of that, spanning damn near a century. My dad is 167 years old, so he's seen some things. He experienced life before light, really, learning to read and write the English language with a piece of coal, riding on a chalkboard by candlelight, horse-drawn wagon, things like that. I'm not sure if any of that's true. I feel like that's how old he is, though. So, what do we call it becomes the question of the day. The best suggestion that I got from the audience, given the technology that my father was using when he was a younger man, we had Full Auto Friday for when it's just myself, even though I've talked many times about only actors and assholes use fully automatic, unless it's an automatic weapon, but a different purpose. It's an area weapon, not a point weapon. Micheal was negligent discharge Friday for reasons that anybody listened could probably tell you. And then for my dad, if we're going to bring him in, it's going to be Flintlock Friday, the peak of technology at the time that my dad was Michael's age. So that's what we're going to have, 3 generations. I meant to cover more questions, but damn, the conversation floated a little bit. Hopefully you enjoy it. We'll do this again in the future if it's enjoyed by the audience. I enjoyed doing it, so you know what? We're going to do it again anyway. But before we get into it, real quick, you know the deal. Let's pay the bills. Today's episode is brought to you by AG1. For those of you on a fitness journey into 2025, now that we're into March, coming up to the end of Q1, I hope that you are still on that journey. I get it. The struggle is real. It's pretty easy to get off of those things, especially when real life gets in your way. Efficiency is what I am going for. Ever since my stomach surgery, I've been looking at things and trying to pare away stuff that doesn't help, that isn't efficient. AG1 for me sits in the wheelhouse of things that I can do one time that satisfies really a lot that I'm looking for. So I'm going to read this real quick. Vitamins, minerals, prebiotics, probiotics, greens and superfoods, antioxidants, stress adaptogens, digestive enzymes. There's a whole lot. I didn't fill one up today because I actually had one earlier today, but we'll get to this cup here in a second, or vessel, if you will. This is an easy one. Usually I take this in the morning because I'm working on my hydration as soon as I wake up. So it allows me to kill multiple birds with one stone and fits, like I said, directly into the wheelhouse of efficiency. People ask me what it tastes like. Hard to say. I'm going to describe it as earthy, and not in a bad way. I enjoy the taste of it, but you're going to need to try it for yourself, which is going to lead me to the offer for the listeners should you be interested. You can try AG1 for yourself. It's the perfect time to start a new healthy habit, and that's why they have this offer for you, the listener. For new subscribers, a free $76 gift when you sign up. You're going to get a welcome kit. Here's some stuff that comes in that. A bottle of D3K2, which is this here, easy to travel with. And a lot of this I'll talk about traveling. 5 free travel packs in the first box. Now, this box, the one I have on me, is 30. But check this out. Instead of carrying around that big pouch with the scoop and the cool container that it comes with, or you could put it all into that, throw this in your backpack. You're ready to travel. It's going to come with this as well, too, the vessel that I drink it out of, shake it up. It's already got the measurements in milliliters or ounces, depending on how you fly there. So that's going to be in your first box for new subscribers. Make sure you check out drinkag1.com/clearedhot to get that offer. That is drinkag1, alpha golf, the number 1.com/clearedhot to start your new year on a healthier note. Let's get back to the show.
Okay, got the red smoke. North or south? West of the smoke! West of the smoke! Okay, copy. West of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now. Come on with it, baby. Give it to me. I need it. You're cleared hot. Copy, cleared hot.
Okay, let me turn that off. That's good. I got some questions for us. Good. You going to talk into the mic or stay a foot away from it again? So what is this Connor told me today that you feel like you can no longer reach out for help because I have shamed you so much? Let's open with that.
What's that? Oh, that's just...
now we're going to play like we can't hear?
Oh, no, I can hear perfectly.
Sounds familiar.
You've been shamed.
When have I been shamed?
I don't know. You told
Oh,
Connor.
you do the same thing I used to do to my dad. I gave him a ration of shit. I love it. I would probably wonder why if you didn't do it, you did. You know?
Love it? So you're going to clarify this?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say I love it, but I expect it, and it's...
How many hours did you spend on the phone with Hulu customer support yesterday?
Oh, boy. All friggin' day. Yeah.
Legitimately, how many hours do you think it was?
Oh, gosh. Probably 4 hours.
How many different people did you talk to?
2.
Okay. Did they seem pumped?
One guy hung up because I told him I couldn't understand him, and I had to go to find another one. I said, "Do you have a fucking banana in your mouth, or can I just not understand you?" Go click.
Yeah, shockingly enough, the support ended at that point.
Well, it was quite a journey into.
Oh, here we go.
Because I probably should pay more attention to stuff, but I didn't. I'm going to change the service.
Hold on. When you say this stuff, let's talk about this catastrophe.
Streaming. What my phone bill is.
I know.
What is streaming?
Oh my God. No, the issue was you couldn't log into your Hulu account.
Yeah.
So I come over to his house after he had spent, I'm going to say probably
See, here's what I'm talking about. You're shaming me.
I'm not shaming you. I am.
I'm a neutral third party.
I am going to paint an accurate portrait for the listener. Your wife aired you out 6 hours on customer support from Hulu. Why? Because he couldn't log in. Mind you, he doesn't even have his own goddamn account. He's sharing mine. So it was a password issue. Did he call and ask? No, he didn't. He went to Hulu customer support. I go over to their house. The TV is like off the wall. He's telling me about the serial number he was able to find on the Apple TV.
I didn't even know they had such a thing as a black box. What the hell's a black box?
Why were you looking at it is the question.
She wanted the serial number off of it. She was telling me the problem was the black box wasn't working properly, and I had to find... We had some turt words for that conversation. It was good entertainment. It's like going to the senior center, and you're not the only one there painting the rocks.
What did you learn from yesterday in your journey into technology?
Well, I learned what my what do you call that place over there? Spectrum bill is. I learned where the billing is for my servers for the streaming for the television.
The servers?
Yeah, well, whatever they are.
Yeah.
I kind of wandered through this stuff. I found out that Clear had just charged me $308 for something I never had bought.
How did that happen?
I've yet to have them give me an answer.
Do you know what Clear is?
Yeah, that's when you go to the airport and you can, they just...
Okay.
They look through the thing, they identify your eyeball, and they let you in early. So, it was crazy. I said, $308? Well, it actually went a little farther than that, but, I was able to cancel it because I asked Casey, I said, do you have a service that allows you? And she says, yeah, it cost me $100, and it's much better than Clear. And I said, good, I'll get the information from you.
Global entry?
Yeah, that's it.
Do you travel internationally often?
No, but I'm supposed to start.
The only international trip I'm aware of is 2027 for you in Australia.
Well, we're actually starting to plan a trip to Spain.
When?
Probably next year.
To 2026?
Yeah.
You can probably hold off on the global entry.
Okay.
48% chance you're not going to be around.
There again.
That's nice.
There again, I'm being shamed. There it is, audience. This is the tit that
I am watching the fucking decline of a TV off the wall.
Well, I got to tell you.
His wife is sitting there. Give us your email address and password. I'm like, absolutely not. Am I giving you my fucking email address and password?
I got to tell you. I had a dream last night, and you were in it.
Oh, great.
And it's kind of spurs off the conversation you talked about possibly, in a year or so buying a house. I'm going, Jesus, I wonder if we could buy one with a granny unit, and instead of paying rent here, I'll just give him $3,000 or $4,000 a month. And
Casey and I have already talked about that. You're going to do that at her house.
Not saying I'm not going back to California.
You'll be like a walking vegetable at that point. You wouldn't know if you were in California or Montana.
So I'm going to end up being a grapefruit or something?
You are going to end up...
I actually think I'm pretty damn sharp for my age.
You're going to end up getting put where we put you.
Well, you're not going to get my password anymore.
I'm not sharing any of your accounts. So he's on tech support for 6 hours. The only thing he needed was my password for Hulu. So he's back there getting serial numbers behind his TV, exploring new technology that he didn't even know existed.
I even had to get that little flashlight out that you gave me, that powerful one.
Okay.
Yeah, that worked really well. So it was an exercise.
Why didn't you
I'm
just
trying
call
not
me?
to get so upset with phone calls and use language that a lot of people find inappropriate. But so, you know me, my favorite saying is just go fuck yourself. And they don't like that.
It's broad usage. It has a really broad usage.
But it was through the process, I learned a lot about my billing, how the system works with the one service here. I just need a new phone. Found out what they were charging me every month in California. Going to California, that was a whole nother trip. Oh, Jesus. Anyway.
Why didn't you just call me?
I didn't want to be... What did he say it was called? What was
Shamed?
It? I didn't want to be shamed again.
So you would rather spend 6 hours with Darpinder?
I had
on the
nothing
phone?
else to do. I mean, that was kind of the
That's
bottom
a
line.
fucking true story.
I had a whole list of things there. I'm sitting in my sweats, and I'm going, oh, this is going to be a while.
I'm plugging in my password on Hulu, and Debbie's just staring at me. What's your password?
And once
And
you
I just
said
looked
that,
at her and I'm like, no.
and once you brought it up on the phone to me, I said, oh, okay, I got it. Yeah, because
He had a legal, an 8.5 by 11 yellow legal notebook talking to me about the things that he had learned. He needed the IP address, the username. All he fucking needed was the Hulu password.
But see, I didn't know that. All my other, my Spectrum, not my Spectrum, Netflix, Prime, all of those were working fine. And all of a sudden I'd go to Hulu and a pinwheel would come up and just spin. And I had no idea that you were on the account until they said, well, who's Andrew Stumpf? And I said, that's my son. We need that password. That's 5 hours into it.
I was going to say,
I don't know what type of tech support Hulu has, but it sounds like dog shit.
yeah, I think that should have been like the first question is like, are you logged in?
Well, I usually don't do well with those conversations. I did pretty good yesterday.
6 hours. I was at your house for 5 minutes and I fixed it.
Shame. I'm being shamed again.
I don't know. I'm not shaming you. Why would you invest that much of your time?
I have a lot of time to invest.
Is that how you want to spend it?
Some days.
All right, to each your own. Can't argue that.
Yeah. No, it was.
Meanwhile,
right
Debbie's like, I've been hiding in the back room all day. He's been using colorful language.
Poor Buster's sitting there on his bed watching me, just fixated by what's going on,
Fucking calls from, give me your IP address.
What?
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, so Michael and I have been doing some Full Auto Friday. He's 23.
25.
Whatever.
25.
I'm 2 decades ahead of him. You're 2 decades ahead of me. And some of the feedback I got from people was bring in...
The old man.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, now we have another naming problem.
Ooh, yeah.
A lot of people have suggested Flintlock Friday, given your age.
Oh, I like that one.
Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, your grasp of technology fits well with that.
Oh, no, it's...
You know the bullshit he tried to pull me yesterday? He goes, you've had more time to do stuff like this than me. I said, we've had exactly the same amount of time exposed to the internet.
That is true, actually.
Yeah, it really is
I just
true.
never, I thought it was relevant at the time, but like a lot of things, like a lot of balloons I put out there to crash right away, but I don't care. It's so much of life now is a comedy, and thank God I'm still part of it.
You're still along for the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's neat. I feel very honored to be
Are
able
you
to
the oldest member of the family now?
I'm the patriarch, believe it or not. I carry the scepter.
Nice.
It's more like a shillelagh, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I realized that about 6 months ago. And I don't know what significance it has to do about anything. You don't come and kiss the ring or any of that. But it really identified for me my age, and how many of my family that I love dearly that are now gone. Yeah, it was a real shock for me.
How does it feel to be at an age where a lot of your friends that you grew up with, like the most vital years or vitality-wise years in your life, are passing? I mean, even in me growing up, a lot of your friends that I knew and growing up have passed.
There's a lot of emotions to that. I've got one or two now that are on the edge of checking out. I feel privileged to have had as long to spend with a lot of people. I talked to Weasel today, making for our fishing trip in July. And I mean, him and I have been friends for, 60 years. And I have a lot of friends like that. But losing them, especially rugby players, what is really shocking for me now is the amount of rugby players that I coached when they were Michael's age that are now dying.
What are they dying of?
I just had a very close friend. He's diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease.
Is that a genetic thing? That's not an exposure thing, is it?
No, it's, what do you call it, MS?
Multiple sclerosis?
Yeah. And I made time to have a lunch with him. Two of my old rugby friends, we got together with him. And losing people like that, I mean, obviously I've lost a lot of friends to alcoholism and stupidity. But another hard one was my buddy Tommy Salem, who played for me for years. His 21-year-old son was killed in a car accident about 6 months ago. That stuff really shakes me because it's real easy to be cavalier when you're at this age, but when stuff like that happens, it really takes you back to just how lucky you are. And a lot of times you just don't acknowledge that every morning.
Do you have a will written up?
I got a trust.
Okay.
Do I have a will? No. I'm trying to learn how to deal with you.
You've been dealing with me my entire fucking life.
I set up a lot of my own shame. I got it.
No, a trust is one thing.
Yeah.
Here's the reason I ask. It's one of your last chances to fuck with people. I had the most fucked up will when I was on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be cremated, but I need 6 people to carry me to the top of Everest without oxygen type shit. Because, fuck it, you're already gone. Take $100,000 out of the $400,000 SGLI, and you guys have to spend it at one bar in one sitting. No one's allowed to leave, and just fucked up shit.
I've got cash. I've already got saved. I'm either giving to you or Casey, and when I go, that money you're going to take to the bar, and we invite all the friends. We'll have a list,
all right,
and no one gets to leave until that money's exhausted.
Here's the thing: don't give Casey anything until you put this list of just ridiculous shit she has. This is your chance to fuck with her while you're gone. Like, Casey, I know you want the cash, but first you have to do 8 book reports on some obscure fucking topic, or it's just your last chance.
No, I hear you.
Don't let it slip through your fingers. Yeah. Michael, do you have a will?
No.
The aging process at this age is, the numbers just don't correlate with me. I just can't imagine 78 years old. It's just the numbers don't make sense. I mean, I talked to an old Marine Corps buddy yesterday. He's 80. And we were talking about it. And I said, how you doing? He says, the biggest thing that I've had to learn to deal with is just pain. I said, I'm the same way. I hurt all the time. He says, yeah, I still do the same stuff, which I do as best I can. But it's just that sometimes I can't get out of a chair, and my
Did you start your testosterone?
I started to until my daughter yesterday told me where I had to rub it, and
Oh, would that be the first time you've ever done that?
Well, it caught me by surprise, it's...
What do you think it was going to be?
Well, she always told me it had to be a place where there wasn't any hair. So I thought, I'll put it on the bottom of my foot or something like that. I just don't waste a lot of time thinking about shit like that.
I think it will help. I think it will
That's what I'm hoping.
It's not magic.
Yeah.
But I think it'll help.
The energy level is what I'm looking for. I miss doing more things.
You're doing pretty good for your age.
I miss
You're
doing
active.
more things, with you and your family. It's like this year when you went on a hunting trip and I was supposed to go. I got really sideways and went way too deep, and I backed out, and I shouldn't have, because I just wasn't dealing with myself. Because now at this age, you start looking at parts of yourself and you go, and I got to catch myself and say, stop, let's deal with today, not yesterday. You can't.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at.
Hunting season is right around the corner.
Oh, yeah.
It's another chance for you to say you're going to come and then change your mind last minute.
I won't do that again. I already told myself that.
Well, the lies we tell ourselves can be dangerous.
I understand.
So. You guys ready?
Yeah. Vaughn, pull that mic a little closer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
But you got like full relaxation mode right now. Do we need to get a recliner in here for you for these episodes?
Yeah, I'd like one, a little drink stand,
Yeah, it's just like, hold on, guys.
Yeah, I'll be right with you.
Can you guys hear me? I'll just sit back here like this.
Well, that's one of the things I find myself doing now. I don't care what the pose is, but I do get myself in a position that I'm comfortable.
Let's just say other people care about the pose. All right.
Yeah. Well, you know what I feel about what other people think.
Yeah. Well, you don't wear underwear, so be careful with the pose. You know
Hey,
what I mean, Michael?
Yeah, nobody wants to see
I've
that.
always thought it pays to advertise, so I mean, just run it out there.
I guess I'll attach the
Diminishing
Playgirl.
returns,
I'll
I
attach
think.
the Playgirl centiphobe to this portion of the episode.
Just make sure that's noted that it was a cold day.
Yeah. I tell you what, the shower scenes after that were powerfully gay.
All rugby teams are gay.
Oh, no. But I mean, that particular photo shoot. It was weird to see you guys all out there in your cleats. But then they went deep into the shower scene, and it was just a lot of dudes.
You notice I wasn't in any
Yeah, I
of those.
noticed that. I'm sitting there looking at that thinking, that's gay.
Yeah, I'm glad I missed that one.
And there's nothing wrong with being gay, but I thought Playgirl was... Actually, I guess Playgirl would be a magazine that could target both audiences.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So if we make it to 3 questions, we got 3 questions. This one, alcoholism. Dear Andy, I'm not sure how to start this question, so I'll just say that my wife calls me an alcoholic. Ever since I got out of the military, I've had a hard time sleeping at night. The VA has sent me more sleeping pills than Heinz has ketchup. So every night I have 2 or 3 glasses of whiskey and I sleep like a baby. I get up every day and I go to work and I don't crave it during the day. Oh, I don't crave it during the day. Spelled that with a G. I don't even drink during the day, except for when I'm on the golf course. You would know about that. What do you think about this? I would love to know. Keep doing what you're doing. Michael, the younger generation, what's your guys' demographic think about drinking? You're of legal drinking age. Do you ever go out and get after it?
Not really, but I don't think the right person to ask because I'm just not a huge drinker.
Yeah, you're more likely to be found
But
playing.
what's your generation feel about it? You must be in contact.
I don't think the generations change that much. I think if you get around drinking age, you go pretty hard usually.
Yeah. I mean, I've especially like I've gone to Bozeman with a couple buddies before.
I know I bought you a bottle of rosé there that one time.
Oh yeah,
you
I
were-
forgot about that. Yeah.
You mean you haven't let it loose here in Kalispell?
I mean, I have, but not like
I mean, let's set a date then.
not crazy. Yeah, we can go out, Vaughn.
I'll get my Santa outfit on and we'll get you
The last time old Santa got it on was out at the lake house, and he stood up and fell over onto the concrete.
It's balance. I'm old. It's just balance.
God,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was God. We'll leave the rest of that story.
No, I mean, I would say it's probably pretty much the same as every other generation of like, well, we're gonna start, probably in like sophomore, junior year of high school and go hard until out of college, and some people stay going hard.
Well, I think it's because it's new too.
Yeah.
And especially if you're underage, there's that enticement. I'm doing something I'm not
And a
supposed
lot of
to be
peer
doing.
pressure at that age, too.
There is a lot of peer pressure
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
What are your thoughts on the tail end of life? I mean,
I think there's so many ways you can interpret alcoholism. I sympathize with your caller's question. I've backed way off my alcohol just simply because it affects my body differently.
like gout.
Yeah, well, Jesus. But it just, I don't like waking up because I don't drink a lot, so when I do put the party hat on, I usually charge pretty hard. But then the next day, and I realize at this age, I don't want days like that. But for especially veterans and what have you.
What do you think about somebody who doesn't feel like there's an alcohol issue, but somebody they care about is telling them that there is one? I think that's the crux of this question.
I think you got to stop, pay attention, and sit down and talk with them and look at yourself. You really, and that's the hardest part for so many people, is just looking at themselves. Am I really, because we all know, and I personally know, oh yeah, I'm not drinking too much, and I'm the kind of guy, if I've had one drink, I said, shit, let's finish the bottle, and a lot of people aren't that way, but.
That's what you're signing up for, Michael, by the way, for the night on the town.
But.
Perfect.
But what's the I was just went to Santa Cruz and with another friend I've had for 60 years, and he is an alcoholic, and he knows it. And
how long has he been, and how long has he known it?
50 years. He Jack Daniel's wine.
Did he ever try to stop?
I don't think he can.
50 years is a long time to live with something that I understand. A lot of people think that, hey, just put the bottle down. There's physiological and psychological complications of that over enough time. But did he ever try to go to treatment or?
I don't know about that, but for a lot of people don't understand that just because you stop drinking doesn't mean you stop being an alcoholic.
Yep.
And that's what I often share with my buddy there. Which was great is he's an old UCSC rugby player. Jack Otis showed up. Turquoise Dave was there. And we've been drinking together for years. So we talk about this stuff together, recognizing, and of the four of us, there's a different definition, or not a definition, an application of how we handle our alcohol. But you got to sit down with the person. You've got to be brave enough to listen to someone who's telling you that, and then talk to yourself and work it out with them. Bottom line is you got to deal with it yourself. A lot of people, I had a father that stopped drinking when he was 22, and he was an alcoholic. He he was a beast of a man, and he almost killed somebody in a bar fight when he was 22. He stopped drinking, but he had all of the habits of a drunk. It's called a dry drunk. And that's what I'm saying. There's different definitions, different applications.
When you were, I don't know if this is true or not. This would probably be more about your parents than your generation. Movies in the 50s and black and whites where it was cocktail hour. It was just part of the social scene. You'd come home, there'd be a cocktail waiting for you. It just seemed like it was a more casual relationship with alcohol. Today's episode is brought to you by Timeline. For the listeners out there, is any of this true for you? Are you trying to feel stronger in the workouts that you do? Are you trying to recover faster from the workouts that you enjoy participating in? Do you want to feel like you have more energy? And actually, that's not the right way to say it. It's not, do you want to feel like you have more energy? Do you want to have more energy? Do you want to proactively preserve your health, your mobility, your strength, etc. as you get older? And do you want to support cellular health? If you answered yes to any of those questions, or all of them, like I would, then you need to check out Timeline's MitoPure. Now, I'm going to read this off of the page that they gave me because it's important, and I want to make sure that I'm being precise. When you think of MitoPure, what you're thinking about is encouraging cellular renewal. MitoPure is a precise dose of the rare postbiotic urolithin A, and it works by promoting an essential cellular cleanup process that clears out dysfunctional mitochondria, which if you went to high school science, you're going to remember as the powerhouse of the cell, and probably nothing else about mitochondria. I'm talking about me when I say that. MitoPure is the only urolithin A supplement on the market that is clinically proven to target the effects of age-related cellular decline. It is shown to deliver double-digit increases in muscle strength and endurance without a change in exercise, which I'm going to call that a win-win. MitoPure is research-backed innovation that unlocks the fullest potential, and it can help you awaken the strength, power, and resilience already in you with the first and only supplement clinically proven to rejuvenate health at the cellular level. Now, the first ad I did in the show was for AG1. Well, let me tell you what I'm taking while drinking the AG1. It's 2 capsules in the morning. It goes with that water. So again, targeting efficiency in my health and wellness journey as I go through age, and the calendars seem to be just flipping at a rapid velocity as I get older. Super easy. 2 capsules in the morning, and I'm good to go. I have absolutely felt the difference in the workouts that I do, specifically my recovery from jiu-jitsu. The offer for the listeners, should you be interested, Timeline is offering 33% off your order of MitoPure while supplies last. Go to timeline.com/clearedhot33. Go to timeline.com/clearedhot33. That is Timeline, timeline.com/clearedhot33. You can check it out for yourself. Back to the show. Was that your experience with the generation? That would have been your parents' generation.
And many of them, my parents didn't drink. You know, my grandparents didn't drink.
Mom's parents made up for that.
Huh?
Mom's parents
Yeah,
made
but
up for
then
that.
on the other flip side, I go to Mom's house, and I didn't really start drinking until, oh God, I guess I was a junior in high school, and I was always so shy. I mean, believe it or not, I'm a very shy person. But the alcohol brought out another demon in me I didn't know that was there, you know, and I couldn't wait to put the party hat on, you know, and you know, my generation, alcohol was preached as going to the O Club, going to the E Club, you know.
Oh, you mean in the military?
Military. Oh, man.
It was not that different when I was in, but you would never find that in doctrine. It was if the river looked flat on top, there was that current that was underneath.
It's one of the biggest disappointments for me. I don't know if I ever talked to you about it. I wish I had been more in control when you were young, because I was the guy. Mom would have a gin and grapefruit juice sitting there for me, and it wasn't like I was staggering drunk or anything. I just wish I was a little more balanced with the picture that I showed you.
I don't remember. Honestly, it didn't hit my radar.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that. But
I do remember how pissed Mom was when I came home from Bud's with my friends and you had all that beer sitting out.
Well, that was, you know.
I think I was 18 at the time.
He's 18. You know, Andy's coming home with
It's like Memorial Day weekend, I think.
something like that, and I got beer stacked out there. And she says, "What's all this beer for?" I said, "Andy's coming home." He's not. I said,
Andy's 18 at the time.
Yeah.
I said, "Here, we're going to have this conversation and have it once." I said, "Your son has earned the right to do whatever the friggin' heck he wants." I said, as long as they stay here, I don't care. I said, it's important that he have a safe place to come, and it's going to be where we are. And God bless her, she understood that.
She did not go to the store to refresh, though.
Oh, no.
We
I mean, I got some look last night. I think I slept by myself for about a week. Yeah. Well, it happened to be that weekend he showed up. We also moved.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That was a rough one.
Oh, but no, yeah, that's a tough thing. You know, I've seen so many friends in the rugby community. It's such a male-dominated thing. I mean, we had songs. We traveled together. Yeah, the classic saying, what goes on tour stays on tour. You know, but we had so damn much fun. I mean, it was fun about a year and a half before Mom died when we went on 6-week tour of France.
Yeah.
And she was the matriarch of this tour. I mean, she was running a book. She put some money out there and made some interest. But they would come to her. I mean, there was half a dozen gals traveling. But when we got there, we found out that cognac was cheaper than the beer.
Is that a whiskey?
It's a.
I don't think I've ever had it.
I don't know how we qualify it.
It's offered with dessert usually. Is it a sweeter drink?
Yeah, but it's really high powered.
Do
so
you
I
drink
just told the
cognac,
boys.
Michael?
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said,
How the
boys.
fuck do you drink cognac?
I got a free one at a bar because my buddy was the bartender.
Oh, well, now we know where to start.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, it's just, it's the real, I mean, I've had friends, guys that have played for me that I've taken to rehab more than once.
Yep.
Be there 30 days. I go pick them up, And before I could get them home, they'd have me stop at a liquor store. And you go all the way to the line like this gentleman that commented, I do this, I do. And my feeling is if you're taking care of business, you're taking care of your family, it takes a couple pops. I mean, there was years I needed a couple pops to sleep.
Yeah, but I think you need to ask why. So, and this,
I knew why.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Well, it's not the problem. Your choice was not to deal with the why.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would say to this person, maybe ask your wife to be a little bit more specific about why she says
Exactly.
that.
Talk about it.
He is framing this through, I sleep like a baby. I would actually go more scientific with this and allow this person to explore with tools that are really accessible, like this watch. The reason I got this is it measures my sleep. If the guy's married, he can get a ring that does them now. They're called Aura rings. What else is out there? You know what I'm talking about? Health measures.
The little band you can put.
That's more for a heart rate monitor for when you're exercising, stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you get something that manages, it doesn't manage your sleep, but it'll tell you how the quality of your sleep is, do an experiment. Go for a week and have your 2 to 3 glasses of whiskey a night and go to bed. And then do a week without that. And the first few days are not going to be reflective of what your sleep is going to be because you're going to struggle. But what you're going to find is that the metrics are undeniable. Yes, you are asleep when you've had the 2 or 3 drinks, but you're not sleeping or recovering
It's like sleep
well.
apnea, Well, again,
Yeah. But it allows you, though, if this guy is saying, hey, I sleep fine and I get up and I can do my job, well, maybe you're functioning at a fraction of your potential. So you can actually look at it scientifically and then realize, okay, I'm lying to myself.
Well, it's one thing for him to say he's sleeping like a baby. What's his wife's impression of that? Your diagnostic stuff is very valid. I completely agree with it. But am I really sleeping this good? Am I still tossing and turning? Or yeah, no, that's a tough one. Alcoholism. I mean, we talk about drug abuse, and you got nicotine and alcohol that are advertised on every airwave and magazine. And I mean, if we just look at the amount of people that die every day from, those two right there, it's a shocker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to totally change gears. Are you into any conspiracies? I don't know if I've ever asked you about this.
I can't tell you.
That's actually not
I
how
don't know what's that
conspiracy
mean.
theorists work.
Do I believe any of those things?
Are you into it? Like, do you believe it, or do you like wrap your head around Bigfoot or aliens or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Michael, you're going to enjoy this question.
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay. It's not that crazy. Andy, longtime listener. I recently discovered that one of my coworkers is a flat earther and a denier of gravity. His theory, as idiotic as it sounds, is that the earth is shaped like a donut and gravity is fake. And all of this stemming from total distrust of anybody that would speak from a point of authority or understanding. This is actually the crux of this question. So I'll say this. I can sport a tinfoil hat as well as the next guy, but why do some people feel the need to turn absolutely everything into a conspiracy?
God, I wish I had an answer for that. I always ask the flat people, well, when we have
The flat people?
they believe the world's flat. Yeah.
Flat earthers.
Yeah.
So I just say, well, what the hell do you see when you see an eclipse? I mean, there it is. There's the roundness of the earth. That's the reflection.
Yeah, but it's a 2-dimension. They're looking at
It's not, but it's not like this. It's like this. It's it's half of a ball or a third of a ball, or it gets down to the very end.
Their theory is that's just a light up there, though. So they would just be covering up a portion of that light.
It might be your theory, but theory and seeing are two different things. I know.
They would argue with that on that point.
I understand because I used to go pillar to post with Debbie's son, Che. He was I'm going.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
What was his favorite theory? Was he a flat earther?
He had two, a flat earther, and all the airplanes up were flying were putting out,
Chemtrails.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Do you think he legitimately believed that the earth was flat? Or did he just enjoy the conversations around it?
No, he was very legitimate about things. He said, no, this is it. I mean, that was just a trail of a lot of different things.
And then chemtrails. He was convinced.
Yeah.
What did he believe, if you can remember, that the purpose of the chemtrails was?
Oh,
was it like mind control from the CIA? They were sprinkling.
I honestly can't definitively remember. I was just so taken back. He says, look at them up there. They're doing this and this and this. And I'd never been exposed to something like that. I've read about it. I've heard about it. I just say, look at the freaking, those are the people that says, we never went to the moon. Mm-hmm. All of that, is all done in a studio. My generation, when that was happening in the 60s, so much of everything was really unsophisticated. And then seeing 1968, seeing him land on the moon, and I was just awed by it all. It just, just this.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that I do believe we went to the moon. Do you think, though, that we did everything that we claimed that we did? That seems to be the most prevalent argument now.
Such as?
Well, it was a race between us and Russia, right? So economically, we were competing and physically getting there, but also we were kind of economically breaking them. So one of the theories is, yes, we did go to the moon, but we also ad-libbed a little bit or said we were doing more in the process of that to try to make them think.
I don't doubt it at all.
That wouldn't surprise me either. Yeah,
I don't doubt it at all. It's just not only were we in a race economically, but we were in a race militarily. I mean, they had developed their inner whatever missiles you call those things. ICBMs and stuff like that. ICBM.
Intercontinental Ballistic Missile.
And we were way behind them. And that was a whole part of our security system. And it was a race with many things that was going on. So did they fudge a little bit? Why not? It's, gosh, who knows?
What interests me about this question, actually, Michael, your generation, conspiracy theories, is there any that are super sticky?
MLK and JFK are like...
What is the conspiracy there?
The CIA killed them.
I thought that was pretty well established at this point.
And that's basically what my generation is like, that.
You got any flat earther friends?
I know people who are flat earthers, but I would not call them friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they exist in your
former
generation
coworkers.
Too?
Yeah.
So what was the one now about JFK? That's my wheelhouse. That's my age. I was sitting in an
the
English
agency was involved in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Someone was, and to me the big reason.
Very clear that he did not act completely by
There was
himself.
more than one shooter. Is the big thing.
There's no. How do you have the shooter, and the back of his head goes this way? That was definitely around from the front.
I mean, how about the magic bullet theory where it's taken left and right?
I know.
The ballistics of it are just
my feeling on
impossible.
all of that is that it probably had something to do with those agencies, but why were those agents? They were being pushed, I believe, so hard by the extreme right, which was even more bizarre than it is today, because Kennedy had just sent our representatives to Vietnam to see what we were doing there, and we even had any business being there. Could we change it? And they came back and told him, no, we have no. And so, quote unquote, the military-industrial complex, they saw this as a gold mine, and he was gone.
How do you think the world would be different had he taken an armored limo with a roof that day?
God,
do you
I've
think
often-
they would have come after him afterwards?
I don't know.
Let's say he had survived and finished his term. What do you think that would look like differently?
I think more things from a humanity standpoint he would have went after. Civil rights he created, aid around the world he created, youth programs to go out and work in different parts of the world. He had a visionary mind for what we needed to do to make a print out there that the rest of the world will watch us and want to emulate us. He was very, very successful at that. I mean, his whole thing is ask not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country. That was his whole platform.
Is that how he got the women to line up to come to visit him at the White House?
We talk about Trump. I mean, this guy had the CIA bringing the ladies in the back door.
I don't know if he was going to have time for all that policy, to be honest.
I don't know. I had enough energy. But I mean, what most people don't realize, he was spun out all the time on amphetamine. After World War II, and when his PT boat got ran over by a Japanese destroyer, and he saved his crewmates. It almost broke his back.
Yeah.
The back pain that's why he was always in a rocking chair. It was just, what you did to keep people going, and the schedule that he was at. I mean, again, you look at his dad. He was a fucking mobster. They were bootleggers, and they basically bought their way into that election. It was. I can remember sitting in English class, and the question of the day was, can he govern the United States and be a Catholic? Have a higher power that's dictated to by the Pope and still be a definitive person as a political.
Interesting.
Yeah, those years right there were so. I mean, it's why I look at a lot of the stuff that happens today, and I just so now prefer not to watch almost all of it.
Well, it goes into the total distrust of anybody that would speak from a point of authority and understanding. I think that's a place that we're finding ourselves in now.
Yeah.
People, if it's a news organization that you align with or tells you what you want to hear, it seems as if there's devout belief. If it's on the other side and they're saying things that you don't agree with, charlatan, shill, whatever it is. And so people are, I don't know, do you see this at all in your generation, Michael, where figures of authority, people are essentially just either unable or unwilling to determine who is lying to them, so they don't want to hear anything that experts have to say, often.
Do you have
what I'm talking
do you have anybody, your generation, do you have anybody that you trust in the government?
No.
Not a single person.
Maybe Tulsi Gabbard.
That's how far we've come from you to me.
I mean, I have, especially at the federal level, pretty much zero faith in the government.
Because a lot of where this comes from, I understand, is before Vietnam and after Vietnam, the conflicts that we were in and basically created ourselves were completely hidden from the public. And all of that is coming out now, and they can go. So I understand their and respect their fear and disrespect. But
how do we fix it?
That's the question of the day.
What do you think of the Doge stuff?
I don't even understand that. What is that?
Technically, it's the Department of Government Efficiency. I don't know by what medium that they are using to analyze, assess, and then cut budgets and employees. And that's a super broad description that may be imprecise. I believe Elon Musk has been tasked with the head of it. I only know one other person who he's working with. His name is Big Balls because he was doxxed. You didn't hear this?
What? No.
No, I heard something about that.
Type in Big, B-A-L-L-Z, Doge. It's like some 19-year-old kid.
Well, my question with all of that is, I mean, I have no...
You're welcome. Michael's mind is just fucking blown right now.
What the hell is this?
I'm in complete agreement that the government is completely bloated. It needs to be cut. But is there any guideline? What's the criteria? My theory has been you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, just the numbers they were talking about today of...
What if both the baby and the bathwater are tainted?
That's got to be evaluated each time. I understand. Yeah, your point's very valid. Just look at us here, the Forest Service. They fired everybody.
They did not fire everybody.
Well, almost the majority of them.
They did not fire almost the majority. They fired, my understanding is people who had not completed their 2-year probational status, which was the vast majority of them, but not everybody, because that's where they were starting. The reason for that is it's much harder to get rid of a federal employee once they get past their probationary time period. So they started with those that hadn't been through the probationary period. And I'm not arguing for them to be fired. I'm just clarifying.
You're privy, obviously, to much more clarity than I am. But my whole thing is okay, yeah, if we got, but what is the criteria? Is there any? Are we just winging this?
Well, and that's what speaks to how I feel about it. At a baseline level, I have no issue with very aggressive investigation and auditing of our government. Yeah. It should fucking happen. There's this video of Jon Stewart talking from a woman, I think it's from the Pentagon, somebody, the DOD. The DOD is not passing audits.
Never
and this,
has.
And
has
this
it?
woman is sitting there arguing with Jon Stewart, essentially saying like, no, it's not that we didn't pass an audit. We just don't know where the money is. He's like, yeah, that's
Same thing, isn't it?
And she's like, no, but it's fine. And eventually, it was a very short clip, so I'm sure they had a much larger conversation. So I'm just taking a snippet of that. My concern is, one, is it scaring the shit out of people, which is okay. I don't have a problem with that. I actually don't have a problem with the status quo being shooken up and being scared.
It's time.
But we need to have a country that functions at the end of this as well, too. And I think that the transparency in communicating what's going on, it's one of the biggest things I heard about COVID and the complaints of how COVID was handled, is that the guidance was shifting back and forth. We're going in this direction. Now we're going in this direction. Instead of just being honest and saying, this is where we're at, this is what we're doing, this is the best information we have at the time. I think and maybe they can't, because of the pace that they're moving or because of the sensitivity, maybe they can't be as transparent and honest. But I think two things need to be true at once. I think that we need that aggressive investigation into our own government, but the transparency needs to be there as well too.
I rubber stamp everything you said, and it's
Well,
just,
I think people not trusting those in positions of authority is because they're fucking tired of being lied to by people in positions of authority.
it all gets back to honesty. I don't have any problem. It's just be honest to us. Tell us, how it's working. What's the end result going to be?
Well, how do we get your generation? Not that I have an immense amount of trust in our government, but Michael, how the fuck do we get your generation bought back in or in any semblance of trust and faith?
You have to somehow show that the government is actually working for the interests.
So walk me through as a thought exercise. What would need to happen for that to be true for you? What would you want to see? Where your tax dollars are going?
Well,
how certain decisions are made?
A detailed breakdown of where my tax dollars are going would be great, because as of right now, I don't feel that, especially at the federal level, it's being used efficiently at all. Unfortunately, I think it's being sent off to other countries indiscriminately, and it's like, hey, we have problems here. So I think focus inward, at least for a couple of terms, needs to happen, because we're building on such a shoddy foundation. Like, we're so top heavy. It just doesn't seem like it's sustainable at this point.
Can you think of a member of the government that you feel represents your generation well?
No. I mean, I think Tulsi probably comes the closest, just with her being more open to transparency and also caring about like the common person, because it seems like a lot of Congress and just the government in general doesn't really care. They just care about getting their next paycheck.
It's called greed.
Yeah.
We don't
all
have a
greedy.
two-party system anymore. We have a one-party
Yeah.
system, and it's about greed.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, this is kind of a tangent, but I'm on the AIPAC website right now. And
What do you see?
I see that almost every member of Congress in the House is backed by AIPAC, a foreign government organization.
From a donation perspective, you mean?
Yeah, from a donation and like endorsed by AIPAC. And it's like, I mean, I don't hate Israel or anything, but to me, when I see that all of the members of Congress are involved with an organization from outside of the country, that seems like a huge conflict of interest to me. And
That's a good point.
And other facts like that, like, for example, the lobbying. I don't understand how you can have the best interests of Americans and the people who voted you in at mind, while at the same time turning the other face and taking a multi-million-dollar check from a lobbyist.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
Yeah, it's just like
What do they have? 3 times as many lobbyists now in Washington than we have Congress members?
Do they really? Is that a true stat? Wow.
That might be a little extreme. It might actually be not extreme enough.
It may,
but it is. You go to K Street, I think it is, in Washington. I mean, you just look at the time that our politicians go out of the White House because they can't do it there, and go to phone banks just to raise money. It's all about money. It's all about this.
Yeah. I've heard they spend about 60% of their time actually doing it.
Yeah, I think you're correct. Yeah. I mean, we have lost so much. I mean, you just look at the news organizations, and I don't care whether they're MSNBC, CBS, or Fox, or any of them. None of them anymore really give you the news. It's opinions. And the story, I mean, what was really an eye-opener for me was driving across from here to California, out in the middle of Podunk nowhere, where there was nothing but extreme right-wing news, and I listened to them forever.
What were they talking about?
Oh,
were you like
conspiracy theories?
AM radio in it?
Yeah. Yeah, because
dangerous. It's
well,
a dangerous
I
game.
put on FM, and I got tired of listening to Hispanic music, or.
Did you try changing the channel?
Oh, I did. I would scan, but it's every news link now. It's a propaganda.
Oh, it's
they're all.
Yeah.
My wife loves however you say it, and I tell her, I said, we're watching the Fox News of the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no different.
And I said, they're just friggin' opinions. They're out selling product. I mean, you look at the shit Disney's doing now. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're in and out of hot water. It's, you're really fascinated when you graciously asked me to come on here, because I started thinking about, and I didn't realize how
let's
many.
not forget you're a supporter of Disney.
At Disney? Why is that? Oh, with Hulu?
There you go.
Yeah.
You're directly
But
supporting their initiative.
it's the only network I get that gives me the news. But it was that listening to that news. I mean, I thought Rush Limbaugh was out there when he was very popular. I mean, these guys, you can just see them spitting and blowing snot bubbles. That they're.
Have you ever tuned into Alex Jones?
Oh, I'd love to listen to him. Yeah, he would. How about Bannon? Holy Jesus, these guys they're out there. I mean, I think.
Do you think that they think they're out there, or do they think that we're out there?
I think it's both. I think it's both. I mean, so much of what's going on today has gone all the way back to the Tea Party when they started. And what was his name? Who was the leader of it? I forget. But he shut the government down. He lost his job. Gingrich was his name.
Gingrich?
Yeah. And you look at the Cheneys and the Rumsfeld. They were all from this I've read a good deal of Project 2025. That scares the holy dog shit out of me.
Where'd you find it?
It was online.
I'm shocked you were able to find it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, well, I've got 6 hours I put into it. I can.
What browser do you use to surf the internet?
What's a browser?
Jesus Christ! When you log onto your computer, on the bottom, what's the icon look like?
I just check in. I said Project 2025.
Okay. Michael, how do I get him
Yeah.
to?
So, probably Safari. What do you use?
Does it look like this?
Yeah, Safari. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I got you.
So a browser is the portal that you use to access the information.
Yeah, Safari.
Okay. I just check in and I look for.
So I mean, historically, I can look back and see where a lot of these steps have come from. Yeah, I mean, you ask. I don't know how we get out of this. I do not know how we fix this. It's so passionate, and I was talking to my old Marine Corps buddy yesterday, and he says, I've been putting in to Social Security for 68 years. He says, they want to cut my Social Security. I just said, excuse me, just give me my money back. I put it in there since then. I'll just give it all back to me. It's mine. You don't have to give me I just want what I've put in the system. You can have the rest of it. Yeah, it's fascinating. I have conversations with a range of people my age that I go, oh my God, what tea have you been drinking? And then I have people that I align myself.
Do you remember it being like that early in your life at all?
No. Before I had any capability of really recognize it is when we went through the McCarthy years. After Korea. And McCarthy was a congressman that it was a witch hunt to label everybody communist to get them run out of the country. And he was finally...
Nazis are the new buzzword of the day.
Well, boy, I mean, it's if you read a lot about Hitler and how he did stuff, the playbook doesn't vary very much. You know, it's...
You're saying the playbook is similar?
Yeah.
I think we should be real careful calling people Nazis.
I don't call people Nazis.
I'm not saying that
it's a line of thought. It's a thought. You know, when you have the president of the United States who is attempting to make sure that any attorney that supported or defended Trump or the people...
You mean Biden?
Biden, excuse me, yeah. Make sure that their firms can no longer work for the government.
You should do a little research into how that happens every electoral cycle.
Yeah, okay. I'm not saying there's a lot I don't understand about it, but because I'm curious and having my browser now.
Yeah, there's some historical precedents that.
And what you gotta when you do this, you can't just read one site. I mean, you got to look at 3 or 4 of them, because, I mean, some of them are just, and it's an agenda. Some of them are just here's the bare information, make your own conclusions.
Are you searching for any of this information on your phone?
No.
Do you remember why I ask?
I can't say I do.
Remember the last time Connor got a look at your phone and you had 500 browser tabs open?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not joking.
She says, why are they there? I said, I didn't feel like calling them back.
Connor, coffee shop manager, was helping tech support, went on his iPhone and hit Safari, and there were 500 tabs open, meaning since you've gotten your phone, I don't think you've closed one, which is impressive, actually.
How do you close them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you pumped to get the new iPhone?
Yeah.
Are you?
No, I want to be better alert, better be able to be more responsive.
Leah and I would like to put an app on your and Debbie's phone called Life 360, and you'll share a circle with us.
What does that provide for me?
For you, nothing. For Leah
What
and
I'm
I,
doing every day?
No, it doesn't know what you're doing.
Oh.
It'll let us know where you are.
Oh, that's probably good.
So when you guys have senior moments and you drive off and get lost, we can come find you.
Hey, that's fine.
All right.
Yeah, your mom wanted one of those with me.
She probably had good reason for that.
You know, I want to say something to you. And I was so thrilled and I was so proud of you for the Instagram that you put on with you and your mom.
How did you get Instagram? I know for a fact you don't have an Instagram
I don't know
page.
how I get almost anything I get. I didn't. Connor said, "Look, have you seen your?"
Okay.
And I go, "What's that? What's?"
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, but I must compliment you that I thought it was very touching, and I was glad to see it. I thought it was really, it was great. Seeing you and that bald head that graduated from high school.
I saw the haircut I had for
I
all
know.
4 years of high
I
school.
understand.
People don't believe me, and I weighed 150 pounds getting out of high school.
Oh shit! I think you barely weighed that.
Yeah, I gained weight in buds, which
Yeah.
is actually a feat in and of itself.
Yeah.
Because fucking hell, the caloric requirement of that course is relatively high.
Oh yeah, but I know it's not an easy issue for you, but to seeing you put it out there and seeing two pictures with you and your mom.
It's not difficult.
It was, well, maybe I used the wrong word, but it was very touching for me.
Yeah, I just wish that I had been in a better headspace or a different headspace, which was not possible at that time during that time. There's just no way.
There's no way.
Yeah.
And I, that was a horrible part for me, is knowing that, I mean, just coming from overseas, I mean, literally in 24 hours and just all kinds of shit that was going on. It was, that was, God.
You think the country will survive the next 4 years?
Yes.
If you look at it,
I don't know what it's gonna look like.
I think
when it
that's
does
okay.
it. Yeah, I do too.
The checks and balances are not working perfectly, but they are working.
That's what I said when Trump, and I told everybody, I said, the Democrats got exactly what they deserved. They deserved it sooner. We needed somebody to take the government apart. I just said
I do not support the vast majority of the things they believe in. But if they don't change their approach and their messaging, they're going to keep getting their dick kicked in at every election until they fucking change.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you, and I tell my older friends that exactly, because so many of them are just so hard out there to the left, and I'm going, you're missing the bigger picture.
They're focusing on things that the vast majority of people don't give a fuck about, and they make it their primary issue. I mean, Michael, not to put you on the spot, but if you had to register for, like, is there a political party in the U.S. that represents you well?
No, but if I had to register, I would register for the Republican Party.
Okay.
And why?
What's that?
Why?
The values I align with slightly more, but I'll be completely honest. I'm not really political anyways.
You strike me as more of a libertarian anyway.
Yeah, I'm very libertarian. Yeah. I really...
Yeah, the libertarians, I love them. They even protest to a stop sign. They're
Yeah.
great. I love them. Yeah, they're great. But as addressing your point, yeah, there's changes that have to be made, and on both sides. But I said when the election happened...
Did you see last night, though?
I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it either, but I watched just because I was busy. There's Democrats in there like holding up paddles and stuff.
Jesus, childish shit.
But these are our elected representatives that are supposed to be running our country.
Yeah,
you guys need to change the way you do business, or you're going to keep getting waffle stomped every time.
I want to see our election procedures stop where everyone gets the same budget. You got 2 weeks to get it done.
Yeah. And
that might not be, but I want to see a step back more to what the English do in Europe. And
Powdered wigs?
hey, I like that. Fuck, man. Tight silk pants. Oh, baby. Yeah.
Buckle shoes.
I'm getting excited.
But it's my whole thing was, as long as we follow the Constitution, the checks and balance systems, and there is no one person above the law, we'll survive anything. But it's being pushed, and it right now probably needs to be pushed to recenter some of that stuff. Do I think we will survive? Yeah, I just don't know in what form.
Are you hopeful, Michael, when you and your friends get together? What do you guys chat about?
This is interesting. So I have a really, really good friend. He lives in New York, and we've actually been chatting back and forth just kind of about current events. He's I would say pretty liberal. Like I said, I'm just pretty middle of the road. I try to take every issue as it comes.
You just want to play chess and be left alone.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly it. Actually.
You just ought to come out and be able to play on both sides of the plate. That's okay.
Yeah.
You live your life how you want to.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
will. I will.
Go in the dugout and grab whatever bat you want.
God, I'm struggling to understand that metaphor, but
Seems like that can be taken as a sexual innuendo.
Yeah.
No, but we actually have really good conversation because we're both very capable of entertaining an idea without accepting it.
Yeah, you can try to understand an idea without acceptance.
That very good point.
Yeah.
That's what's missing from our country. That has
From
left
some
from
some people.
Yeah, we can't talk. We can't agree to disagree and find some common ground.
Yeah, and so that's why I like talking to this friend is because
that's
we're both
good.
able to say,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
this is what I think of this, and not get mad at each other for having a difference of opinion.
People can't sit down at a table to have a Christmas dinner without throwing the drumstick at somebody. You know?
Well, and that's the thing is like, aside from like some political beliefs, everything else we have is in common. Like, but it's just the political beliefs that set us apart in some ways, but it's really not that big of a deal. And
But
so,
even as radical as either side can be, we still have to have some center ground.
Yeah.
And, that's what is left is the ability for the two parties to come and be able to negotiate.
Yeah.
They are so in their own camps, both extreme, and I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
Like standing up, getting thrown out, making a disparaging remark about the president and whatever.
It accomplishes nothing.
It does nothing, and it makes it look so bad. And you're talking about issues. I mean, let's look at the alphabet soup, sexual shit, and the transgender. What are they? Not even 1% of the issue, and so much of it rolls off of that.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm glad to see that more and more athletic divisions or leagues or what have you are just saying, if you're a guy, you're not going to compete against the gals.
Yeah.
You know, why do we even need to discuss that?
Yeah, the fact that that's even
that is so. It's just,
is
but
wild,
it can become the beginning and end of discussions with people, and we have so many other things that are,
Well, yeah, I mean it's kind of a
When I was
privilege.
your age, you couldn't go out into the community and declare that you were a homosexual.
Yeah, that's
Well,
why.
what happened if you did?
Oh, the discrimination, being shunned. Like I told you, Tony Anderson, basically my brother, his older brother was gay. I didn't even know what the word meant. I'd go over to his house, and they were in the farmer's grange where they had dances and what. I'd go over there in the morning. He'd be in his mom's dress, dancing and what have you. Just he went in the military, tried to change who he was. He got married to try to change who he was, and then he killed himself because he could not fit in. I hope we're not in that situation today. But it's like I used to tell my rugby players, you're fighting the wrong friggin' war here. It doesn't matter what your pronoun is. It's how you treat people. Mm-hmm. You know, why are we getting hung up on, oh, no, I'm not going to call you a guy. You know, that's not why we're here. Yeah, it was some of the stuff I went through later on in life. I just kind of really stopped me in my tracks. And I'm glad it did. You know, it's, but like you said, I do believe we'll survive it. I do not know what, I told somebody the other day, I don't think I'll really see what we're going to settle at in my lifetime. It's going to take years to, I don't know what the hell's going to go on with China or Russia or these places.
It took years to get to this point. It's reasonable to
sure.
assume it'll take years to get out.
That's was my point. I just don't think this is going to be settled in my lifetime. I worry for my grandchildren desperately, but I have enough faith in their family that whatever we come across, we'll figure a way of negotiating it. But one of the biggest issues I see is the disparity between those that have and those that don't. You know, working people trying to find a place to buy a home where they can, that's scary for me. It was a whole different thing when I was growing up. You know, we can talk about that at a different time.
Speaking of buying stuff, how's that truck treating you, Michael?
Hey, yeah, I hear you got a new truck.
Well, maybe. We're going to look at numbers tomorrow.
What truck
he
you looking
hooked
at?
you in, huh?
Good for you.
It's a 2018 Tacoma.
Right back to the Toyota.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I will never not buy Toyota, probably. Yeah.
Way to support the American economy, you piece of shit.
Well, if American companies made their trucks better, then I would consider buying an American
I had mine for 23 years, you know, and
The old taco.
yeah, well, good for you.
For clarity, for the listener, it's my oldest son that is swindling Michael and is trying to get my dad's wife to purchase a vehicle that she doesn't need. Actually, if he has your phone number, he's probably called you to try to get you to come in. He is starting a new career. He literally brought the truck to the coffee shop while Michael was working to facilitate a test drive.
The difference is I don't need this car, but soon I will need a new vehicle.
And they're going to do nothing but get more expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
mine depreciates.
Yeah. And honestly, as far as dealerships in town, that one's going to take care of you the best.
Yeah.
So.
What do they want for that thing?
I think it was like 30, and then depending on what my
I bought my first house for $30,000.
That's insane. Wish I could buy a house for $30,000.
Well, as we get further into this, I'll be able to bring out.
I'll go to a construction supply store. I'll buy you a porta potty. And
Yeah, that's about where it'll get me. Yeah.
Yeah.
$30,000 for a house.
Yeah, that sounds really nice right about now.
Well, when we bought the one that I lived in for 23, 24 years, I think we bought it for $260 and bought it with nothing down. And it wasn't a VA loan.
In Santa Cruz?
Yeah.
Do you remember what your interest rate was?
No, I don't. But when I did sell it, because I kept using it as a checking account.
Yeah.
You know, and the last interest rate I had was below 3.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
It's expensive to borrow
That's the
money right
reason
now.
I let it build up. I take $100,000 out, and it was like, payment didn't change anything. It was just, I said, why not?
Yeah. I mean, there's a few reasons to why not, but whatever. Live your life.
Oh, yeah. Hell, I didn't even know what Safari was.
Trust me, I know. So your Verizon appointment is tomorrow.
Yep.
Michael, do you work tomorrow?
No.
We've determined that my dad needs a chaperone of a younger generation.
I'm just going in for a cell phone
Well,
now.
what time?
Fuck.
I thought I was going to get a new network system and everything else.
Okay, we're going to practice for tomorrow. What specifically are you going to tell these people?
I want this, and how much is it going to cost me?
When you say this, what's the this going to be?
I want a new cell phone. They've already offered me. Actually offered me 2.
Okay.
I said, fine. What's it going to cost me a month to match the services I have now?
And you need to make sure they take your current number and roll it over.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I don't want to lose that. I'd be screwed. I'd never remember another one.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah. Shame. There's the shame thing
What,
against
I
it.
know.
What if they try to
Unbelievable.
pitch you on TV service at the house?
Shut that shit down.
No?
No,
Okay.
I don't want that. I've got Spectrum's great.
Extended warranty on your phone.
No.
Good. What else would they potentially? We're doing a mock trial here, Mike. What else could they potentially throw at him?
Internet.
I got a good internet with
Yeah.
Spectrum.
Good.
So say
Okay.
no. Basically anything besides your phone and cellular for your phone. Just
Yes,
say no.
that's all.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
I mean, I can be nasty with salespeople.
I kinda
Let's
wanna go
not
just
take
to
it
see
that far. It's just a cell phone, not World War III. but-
Yeah, no, I don't mean I get like that, but I'm just going, do you really want to sell me something here, asshole? Let's get it done, I got a $100 bill. I don't want to pay any more than that in a month.
So that's not going to work because they're going to need a card. He's not going to take your 100.
Oh, I got half a dozen cards.
Okay. That's probably not a good thing, actually, but
I want to use one. Actually, I use 2.
any closing thoughts, gentlemen?
No, I appreciate being invited to this. It's
It's better perspective than just me.
no,
I mean,
and I want to get Michael more involved in this. It's really important that.
careful what you ask for. He doesn't know
Well, I
anything.
understand. We a little light in the shoes, so we'll play. We'll move on.
What's your 5-year goal, Michael?
Married
You
with
still
children.
moving to Maine?
No. No.
You're gonna go to Maine?
No.
He had that goal for a while.
long time ago. That was a long time
It's like
ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah. For my life, that's a long time
That's
ago.
true. It's the 5th of your life.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go to an area where there's a greater dating pool?
Yeah, are you actually just going to move just so there's more chicks?
No. No, I'm just going to
What's your plan? Hermit?
Honestly, I don't really know. I'm kind of just seeing what happens.
Well, you will get up in 5 years and still be doing it. You got to make yourself some goals
Yeah, well, trying hasn't worked out. So,
because you'll get up in
Have
5
you
years.
tried trying harder?
yeah, it works out worse, actually, if you can imagine.
I've redoubled my efforts and it got 4 times as bad.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah. I mean, this is a cool place, but I can empathize.
It
with
has its
where-
limitations.
Well, we're also in different phases of our life.
Yeah.
All 3 of the kids want to leave. Riley, Tyler, and Julia, they all want to go.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be.
They will.
They'll be gone.
I feel like, though, at some point they will come back.
That's exactly what I
Yeah.
feel.
Whether or not you and I will be alive, different story, but I think
I'll be alive because they'll still want something. I'm on.
that is
We're
very
out
true.
there. I get a text from Julia.
Where? Out where? California?
We're on a trip somewhere.
Yeah.
Grampy, when can we go get the mask?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Her
said,
welding mask. Yeah.
Yeah. And I text her. I said, "Sweetie, I'm sorry, we're out of state." I said, "I'm still game. Let's sit down and talk about it. I want to see what you're, exactly where you want to go with this." But I said, "Yeah, listen, I'm still in, no problem."
She was welding today.
Yeah.
I could tell because I have her on Life 360.
Yeah.
Where we're going to add you guys.
What happens when she leaves the phone somewhere and just goes with somebody else?
There's ways around technology. You also don't carry your phone with you many times as well, so it actually would be useless to have on you most of the
It's
time.
fun watching these guys and the salesmen, and they say, "Can I see your new phone? Your phone?" I said, "Sure." I bring this out, and they go, "What the shit is this?" So I think it's a
Unlock that
5.
yeah, let me see. Unlock it for a second. I'm just gonna go into your settings and. Do you even have a password on your phone?
Yeah, but I've learned I only got to hit the button twice, and I don't need to put the password in.
There you go.
Jesus. General.
I'm a student of watching.
Oh
Making
my
things
God.
What's the matter?
This is an iPhone 3.
Oh wow, nice. I didn't even know that they still
Oh, I'm sorry.
service those.
5, isn't it?
No, this is your iPhone's name is iPhone 3.
Oh.
This is an iPhone 6S.
All right.
This is 10 years old.
Yeah, it's an old phone.
Wow.
What happens now?
It's impressive.
I'll get up in the morning. If I haven't plugged in at night, it'll be, I'm plugging in at night, and it'll be completely charged. I'll unplug it, set it down, and it goes right back to red. So I plug it in again, and then it goes all the way back to charge again. That's when I started realizing
Those are called subtle signs.
that's exactly what I
Yeah.
was going to say, No.
All right. Well, that's enough for today. We'll do it again.
Alrighty.
All right.